This pot has been cooking for 300 years, and it holds the entire story of American food. Don't blink. America turns 250 this year, but its greatest food city is older than the country itself by 58 years. One city took France, Spain, West Africa, Sicily, Acadia, and Vietnam and simmered them into something entirely American. So today, 7 iconic dishes, 300 years, one delicious argument that New Orleans is America's true food capital. This is Hungry Compass, and for America's 250th birthday, the needle swings to the crescent of the Mississippi. New Orleans, Louisiana. Start with the river. The Mississippi drains nearly half of America, and every drop bends around one muddy crescent. In 1718, a French-Canadian named Bienville planted a colony on that bend, swampy, flood-prone, and impossibly valuable. Whoever held this crescent controlled everything moving through the continent's heart: grain, furs, sugar, and eventually flavor. The French brought what they knew: bread, butter, and sauces built on roux, flour toasted slowly in fat until it thickens everything. But French recipes met Louisiana reality: no wheat fields, strange fish, brutal heat. The pantry had other plans. Local native nations, the Choctaw among them, had traded on this ground for centuries. They knew corn, and they knew sassafras. Ground sassafras became file, a piney, root beer-scented powder that still finishes gumbo today. Remember it. It returns. Then, 1719, the first ships arrived from West Africa carrying enslaved people, and with them, seeds and knowledge that reshaped everything. West African cooks knew rice agriculture, one-pot stews, and a green pod some Bantu languages called gumbo, okra. Hold that word, gumbo. In this city, it won't stay a vegetable for long. By 1763, the colony changed hands. Spain took over and ran New Orleans for roughly 40 years. 2 great fires burned the French town to the ground. Spain rebuilt it, which means the French Quarter is mostly Spanish architecture. Spain also brought peppers, tomatoes from across its empire, and rice ambitions, the grain that would anchor half this city's plates. So before America ever showed up, the pot already held France, Spain, West Africa, and native Louisiana. Then came 1803. Napoleon needed cash. Jefferson needed the river. For around $15 million, pennies an acre, New Orleans became American. Chapter 1 of the menu: Creole, the food New Orleans invented for itself, in its own kitchens, in its own accent. Creole meant city cooking, French technique, Spanish peppers and tomatoes, African hands at the stove, Caribbean spice off the docks. Be clear about those kitchens. For a century, most ran on enslaved labor. The genius at the stove was theirs too. On Sundays, enslaved and free black New Orleanians gathered at Congo Square, drumming, dancing, trading food. Jazz has roots here. So does American flavor. From those roots came dishes the whole country now claims: red beans, fried chicken done right, pralines sold by black women entrepreneurs. Take red beans and rice. Tradition says Monday was wash day, beans simmered untended while the laundry boiled. A ham bone, the Trinity, half a day of patience, and Monday became the best-smelling day of the week. It still is. Notice the Trinity there: onion, celery, bell pepper. France cooks with mirepoix. New Orleans swapped carrots for green pepper and never apologized. Locals call it the Holy Trinity. It opens nearly every pot in this city: Creole or Cajun, downtown or deep bayou. The Creole table grew grand: turtle soup, shrimp remoulade, trout amandine, dining rooms with waiters older than some states. One French Quarter dining room has been run by the same family since 1840. America has restaurants older than its national parks. They're here. And in the Treme, a lunch counter became a landmark, Dookie Chase's, where Leah Chase fed the civil rights movement. Her gumbo Z-herbs drew lines every Holy Thursday. Presidents ate here. Strategy was planned over fried chicken. Food is history, literally. That's the Creole thesis, the city's story, told in sauce. Which brings us to the sauce of sauces, the roux. Flour, fat, heat, time. For ingredients that separate Tuesday cooks from grandmothers with reputations. Blonde roux thickens a bisque. Peanut butter roux carries an étouffée. But gumbo demands chocolate, one shade before regret. Locals measure roux in beers. Stir until you've slowly finished two. Rush it, burn it, start over. No exceptions. No shortcuts. Now, the dish that carries the whole 300-year story in one bowl. Gumbo. Louisiana's official state cuisine, by actual law. Remember the name, gumbo, West African for okra. The dish is named in an African language. That's not trivia, that's authorship. Every culture signed it. African okra and technique. French roux. Choctaw file. Spanish peppers. German sausage. Shrimp straight off the docks. There is no single gumbo. Chicken and andouille in one parish, shrimp and okra in the next, and holiday versions guarded like heirlooms. But every version starts the same way, that dark roux, and the Trinity crashing in with a sound like applause. Then stock, bay leaves, cayenne, and thyme. Gumbo isn't cooked so much as negotiated, an hour minimum, all afternoon if it's Sunday. Andouille goes in, a smoked pork sausage German settlers perfected here, then chicken or shrimp and crab when the boats behave. The okra question divides families. Okra thickens summer gumbo, file finishes winter pots. Some use neither. All of them are certain. One rule most cooks respect, okra or file, never both. One thickens on the stove, one at the table. Choose your church. Serve it over rice, that Spanish African grain again, with potato salad on the side, if you're Cajun about it. First spoonful. Smoke, sweetness, the sea, and something older than the recipe. You're tasting 1719 and 2026 simultaneously. Here's why gumbo matters for America's birthday. It's the melting pot that actually melted, proof the metaphor can work. Gumbo census, comments section, okra or file, chicken andouille or seafood. Wars have started over less. Be respectful. Be wrong together. One more gumbo truth. It tastes better tomorrow. Every cook says it. Every refrigerator in Louisiana proves it nightly. When someone dies, neighbors bring gumbo. When the Saints win, gumbo. Hurricane coming? The freezer gumbo comes out. It's infrastructure. That's the city dish. But drive 90 minutes west, into the bayous, and the same pot speaks a different French. Chapter 2 of the story, the Cajuns. And it starts 2,000 miles away in Canada with an expulsion. In 1755, the British expelled the French-speaking Acadians from Nova Scotia. Thousands wandered for years. Many found Spanish Louisiana. Acadian slurred into Cajun. The bayous gave them crawfish, rice, and game, and isolation enough to keep their French alive 2 centuries. Cajun is country cooking, one black pot, whatever the land gave, seasoned hard. Creole wears a jacket, Cajun wears boots. Their pantry, rice from the prairies, pork from the neighborhood butchery, and a smoked sausage economy, andouille, boudin, tasso. Gas stations out here sell boudin, hot rice and pork sausage in butcher paper. Locals eat it leaning on the truck. It's a food group. Now the rice flagship, Jambalaya, Spain's paella, filtered through West African jollof, finished with a Cajun accent. The etymology is murky, maybe Provençal, Jambalaya, meaning mishmash. The dish doesn't care. It's rice, meat, and conviction. Two denominations again. Creole jambalaya is red, tomatoes, shrimp, city manners. Cajun is brown, no tomato, pure pot drippings. Brown happens like this. Sausage and chicken sear hard, stick, and caramelize, then rice lifts every dark scrap off the iron. Then, the discipline. Lid on, flame low, no stirring. Cajun cooks guard the pot like a sleeping baby. 25 minutes. The town of Gonzales crowned itself jambalaya capital of the world and cooks for thousands in pots you could bathe in. Lid off. Every grain separate, stained brown gold, smoky from the sausage. That crust on the bottom? Cook's tax. One pot, one starch, one nation's worth of history. Jambalaya is survival cooking that learned how to sing. But the true Cajun sacrament arrives in spring, by the sack, alive and furious. Crawfish. Louisiana raises around 90% of America's crawfish, much of it in flooded rice fields. Same water, 2 harvests. Farmer math. The boil is not a recipe, it's an event. Propane roars, a pot the size of a barrel rolls, and the whole block gets invited. Spice by the pound, lemons, garlic, corn, potatoes, sausage, then the crawfish, a full basket, lowered like treasure. "15 minutes later, the table disappears under newspaper and a red mountain. No plates. No forks. No mercy. The technique is a local birthright. Pinch the tail, twist, peel one ring, pull the meat, and yes, suck the head. That's where the spice lives. Breaux Bridge holds the crown, crawfish capital of the world since 1959, and its spring festival empties the surrounding parishes. Back in the city, the story turns to bread because 2 immigrant waves wrote America's greatest sandwiches here. First, the loaf itself, New Orleans French bread, shatter-crisp crust, interior like held breath. Half air, all nostalgia. A German immigrant family has baked it since 1896 and engineered a crust designed to explode on contact. Sandwich 1. The po' boy, born, the story goes, not in a kitchen, but in a labor dispute. In 1929, streetcar workers went on strike. The Martin brothers, former conductors turned sandwich men, promised every striker a free meal. Every time a striker walked in, the counter call went up. Here comes another po' boy. The sandwich kept the name. The striker's version was humble, gravy, potato scraps, roast beef ends. Generosity made portable. That DNA never left. Today the menu sprawls: fried shrimp, oyster, catfish, hot sausage, and roast beef so wet it needs engineering. Order it dressed, lettuce, tomato, pickles, mayonnaise. For words that mark you as local faster than any accent. The roast beef po' boy is a controlled disaster, slow-cooked beef collapsing into gravy, ladled on until the bread surrenders. Fried shrimp is the gateway. Crackling crust, sweet Gulf shrimp, a lightning strike of hot sauce. For napkins minimum. Dignity optional. Rule of the loaf, a proper po' boy sheds. If your shirt stays clean, send it back. Sandwich 2 belongs to the Sicilians, who arrived by the tens of thousands around 1900 and made the lower quarter, Little Palermo. The classic story: a grocer named Salvatore Lupo watched workers juggle bread, salumi, and olives, and stacked lunch into one loaf around 1906. The Muffuletta, a round Sicilian sesame loaf, mortadella, salami, ham, provolone, and the part that matters, olive salad. Olive salad is the city in a jar. Olives, celery, cauliflower, capers, garlic, oil, briny, crunchy, faintly chaotic. It's sold by the quarter because a whole one feeds a shift crew. The oil-soaked bottom bread is the best bite in the quarter. The Sicilians also gave the city lemon ice, fig cookies, and St. Joseph's Day altars built of bread. Immigration, edible. 2 sandwiches, 2 immigrant stories, 1 lesson. America's food capital was built by people who arrived hungry. Now dessert, and the ritual every American visitor performs at least once, usually at 2 in the morning. The beignet, French dough, fried to a pillow, then buried, not dusted, buried under powdered sugar. The famous stand has fried them beside the French market since 1862, open all night, closed roughly 1 day a year. Christmas. Dough hits hot oil and inflates like a promise, hollow, golden, too hot, exactly right. The first bite exhales steam through the sugar and powders your shirt like a crime scene. Wear dark colors. Accept fate. The coffee beside it tells a war story. When blockades made beans scarce, New Orleans stretched them with roasted chicory root. Chicory adds bitter chocolate depth, softened with hot milk, café au lait. Scarcity upgraded into signature. Very New Orleans. Louisiana made the beignet its official state donut in 1986. Yes, that's a real law. No, nobody objected. But the city's most political pastry exists only 5 weeks a year, and it comes with a plastic baby inside. King cake season runs 12th night to Mardi Gras, a braided brioche ring, iced and striped in purple, green, and gold. The colors carry meaning, justice, faith, power, codified, the story goes, by a carnival crew back in 1872. The rules: find the baby in your slice and the next cake's on you. Entire offices run on this economy every February. Bakeries turn them out by the hundreds of thousands each season, filled with cream cheese, praline, or nothing but tradition. Mardi Gras itself is the city's oldest recurring show, carnival kept since the French arrived, parading since the 1830s. Sugar, ceremony, and a season the whole city keeps together, that's the sweet layer. One layer remains. The newest. The newest chapter starts in 1975 with the fall of Saigon and ends with the best bread in America getting even better. Thousands of Vietnamese refugees resettled on the Gulf, many in New Orleans East, sponsored by Catholic parishes. It felt, some said, like the Mekong. They rebuilt familiar lives, shrimping the Gulf, planting water spinach along the levees, opening bakeries that understood French bread instantly. Because Vietnam knew French colonial baking too, and New Orleans humidity makes baguettes with the same shattering crust. 2 French colonies, 1 loaf. The result, banh mi, locals long called it the Vietnamese po' boy, pâté, roast pork, pickled daikon, cilantro, jalapeno. One New Orleans East bakery earned a James Beard America's Classic, and now its king cakes sell out every single carnival. Read that again. A Vietnamese American bakery bakes the city's most wanted Mardi Gras cake. That's not fusion. That's citizenship. Crawfish picked up a new accent too. Viet Cajun boils, garlic butter, lemongrass, extra citrus, born along this gulf, now nationwide. Every layer of this city ends the same way: arrival, adaptation, and eventually, a line out the door. So, America turns 250 this year. Why does that make this swampy, sinking, stubborn city the food capital? Do the math, 58 years older than the nation, and American for 223 of its 250. Other cities perfected imported cuisines. New Orleans did something rarer. It invented one from everyone for everyone on American soil. The proof survived the worst. In 2005, Katrina flooded nearly 80% of the city. Recovery wasn't announced in speeches, it was announced in reopenings. Willie Mae's fried chicken came back with volunteer hammers. Dookie Chase relit its stoves. The city measured healing in menus. And the wider world caught up. When the Michelin Guide finally came south in 2025, New Orleans kitchens took home stars. National Geographic, the critics, and the country's birthday travel lists keep landing on the same crescent of river. That's not coincidence. That's gravity. Because the American experiment, everyone arriving, nobody leaving unchanged, has a flavor. And you can order it here daily. 250 years of America. 308 of New Orleans. The birthday party was always going to be a dinner. Your verdict, comments section. Does New Orleans keep the title, or does your city want the smoke? State your case. Bring evidence. If you go from Tchoupitoulas Street to the Quarter, eat where the line snakes out the door, and never rush a roux. Details checked August 2026. Hours, seasons, and festival dates drift, so double-check before you fly. Crawfish peaks in spring. Plan accordingly. If this made you hungry, subscribe. Taste of America is a whole series, and the compass is already twitching. Next episode, the needle could land anywhere, another city, another cuisine, another 300 years. Nominate yours in the comments. Somewhere in the Quarter right now, a spoon is dragging the bottom of a black pot, and tomorrow's gumbo is already better. Keep your passport close and your appetite closer. This has been Hungry Compass. Where to next?